From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, Mr. and Mrs. America. I am Keith Allen, and proudly welcoming you into this Tuesday's edition of For the People on November the 14th, 2017. Attorney General Jeff Sessions being grilled by the House Judiciary Committee. We're going to be talking about that in a little while, but that's big doings. Roy Moore, that's coming up. Some new allegations about that. But right now, a really bad situation going down for our military, and this is very troublesome. Now, I understand, you have to do things when there is a war, and sometimes if recruitment is down, and that seems to be the case for the U.S. Army, they have decided to pull an ace out of their pocket to be able to fill some of these numbers. But before we get started in this story, Jennifer Griffin, she is the Pentagon correspondent for Fox News Channel, and she's going to let us know what the Army is doing to actually meet those numbers.
The Army wants to grow to 540,000 troops and is facing a challenge recruiting 80,000 new recruits before September 2018 to meet that goal. Remember, it's always harder for the military to recruit when the economy is booming. Last year, the Army accepted more recruits that fared poorly on aptitude tests in order to meet their goal of 69,000 new soldiers, according to documents obtained by USA Today. They also increased the number of waivers for marijuana use. Fox News has confirmed the Army has shifted who can approve waivers for those recruits with a history of self-mutilation, bipolar disorder, depression, and drug and alcohol abuse. But they say they have not lowered the standards. They won't necessarily be granted a waiver by Army doctors, but now it will be up to a recruiting battalion commander, not the Department of the Army, to grant those waivers. There is now more leeway to take into account past mental health issues. The Army issued a ban on these waivers back in 2009 during the surge in Iraq, following a spike in suicide rates. Remember, during the surge in Iraq, the military also lowered standards in order to ramp up numbers quickly.
All right, so I don't think this is just a mere recruitment tactic. I don't think it's that. I think that it is a tactic. I believe it's a tactic because we are going to war. I believe that we are going to have a confrontation. We're going to have to be in the North. I believe there's going to be a kickoff soon. I think they're trying to gear up for it. I think we just need to be ready for it. How else do you explain allowing those with known cutting themselves, mentally ill people and drug abusers to go into the Army? People are doing the stuff to get into the Army. I just don't think it's a great idea. And remember, if you've watched the Chris Kyle movie, who was a U.S. Navy SEAL, Taya Kyle, an activist and a wonderful patriot. But Chris Kyle was not killed in theater. He was killed by a mentally ill individual that he actually was trying to help, to try to share his life with, killed him. These are the kind of people that you want to be in war with? I don't think so. I am shocked. Craig Bryan, the executive director of the National Center for Veteran Study at the University of Utah, was telling Fox News, this contradicts everything that we have been working towards for the past 10 to 15 years. This contradicts everything. Bryan says there is strong evidence to indicate self-injury is a stepping stone to suicide and is the single strongest predator of suicidal behavior. The Army signed off on the new policy in August, but never announced it, according to USA Today, which first reported the news. As you heard Jennifer Griffin say, that USA was the first to really put it out in the newspaper. The decision to lift restrictions comes as the military is going to miss its goal of recruiting of 80,000 new soldiers through September, and the only way that they can explain it properly is usually they have troubles when the economy is actually doing well and it's not so much in the tank. So people really like sign-on bonuses and all that good stuff. In order to hit last year's goal of 69,000 recruits, the Army also accepted men and women who did poorly on aptitude tests, increased the number of waivers for pot use, and offered hundreds of millions of dollars in bonuses. See, there's the bonuses. So in numbers, fiscal year 2017, it paid $424 million in bonuses, up to $284 million in 2016. In 2014, that figure was $8.2 million, according to USA Today's report. And then some of the recruits qualified for more bonuses, $40,000. Win-win situation if you're wanting to get in, get some money going for the fam and for yourself, for your career. It's always been a good deal. But now they can't get enough quality people into the Army. And they just said, we're not lowering our standards, but really? Not only do you put the new recruits in danger from the suicide rate, but also those around you that are depending on the people. This is outrageous. How do you feel about this decision by the U.S. Army? Do you have concerns about it? Now, if there's a known war, and there's war coming, a war is looming, I guess you just have to take what you can get and just go rolling with it. I thought that there was a whole reserve ready for deployment at a moment's notice. What happened to that idea? I just don't like this slippery slope, this deal. Too many bad things are already happening out to sea with the Navy. We got defectors. Bergdahl, what a moron. Got several people killed just trying to hunt him down to find him. Dear God, we don't need more problems on our hands. How else do you explain this other than incompetence and more of the bureaucrats in Washington allowing this to happen? This is troublesome. Unless they know something that we don't, and that is war is right around the corner. And we got to have peeps. I mean, this is troublesome. It's sad because we have to have folks out there that are competent and can make on-the-spot decisions that are life and death, not only for the individual, but for the whole battalion. I don't get this. This is maddening. Lifting the ban, if you're just joining us, talking about the Army lifting its ban on cutters, mentally ill, and drug abusers to meet their recruitment goals. And I'm a little bit frustrated here, and I would imagine for those that are serving currently or have loved ones that are currently serving in the Army and then hearing about this, having loose cannons, some would say, oh, but that's the kind of people that you want to have in the Army. Not really. You don't want stupid. You don't want rogue like Bergdahl. You don't want idiots. You follow orders. You don't go off AWOL. You don't go ahead and decide to shoot when you shouldn't shoot. Go when you're not supposed to go, etc. People that are mentally ill don't always follow orders. I mean, come on. I mean, seriously. What are they thinking? So there's a green light for these recruits who have bipolar disorder. I don't know if you've been around anybody that has these disorders, depression, cutting. If you don't know what cutting is specifically a process of which a person takes a knife or a razor to his or her skin, along with those who bite, hit, or bruise themselves intentionally to relieve the pain that they're going through. But they're going to allow them to go ahead and do that and allow them to go into our armed services. God forbid. What is going on? That's the only thing that I could think of at this juncture. You can't up some PSAs. You can't up some bonuses. You can't do something else. Up their A game. And when was the last time you really saw a good Army PSA? Did they stop running public service announcements for recruitment? Did they stop doing it? I mean, that's, to me, desperate and stupid. Desperate and stupid. That's the first thing that came to mind. And though he was an Army, he was a military hero, in my opinion, Chris Kyle, who served his country honorably, great sniper, and then he comes back and he gets killed by somebody that's mentally deranged. Now, I'm not saying that anybody with a mental illness is going to go off and kill somebody and murder somebody. But they're allowing this to happen at all levels. And people that are bipolar, their highs are high, their lows low. Unless all these people are on medication and they're vetted and they're fine and they're not going to cause any disruption whatsoever. And mentally ill doesn't necessarily mean mentally ill. They're rehabilitated. They're clean. They fixed them. And they're under close watch. Maybe it's a special segment of the Army that they allow these folks in. I don't know. Again, I'm not making fun of anybody that might be listening to the broadcast or knows somebody that has a mental illness. I just want to make that clear. I'm just concerned a little bit when it comes to getting the job done, protecting those in the field that are carrying out a mission. And the mission has to be carried out flawlessly, because if it's not, it's the lives of others around you. If you can't follow those orders, if there's hesitation, there can't be any of that. And I do know that there are folks that have mental illnesses that are dancing to their own drum, that are known as loose cannons. Can't keep it together, especially in a stressful situation. I mean, think about it. You consider yourself normal. Some people normal come totally unglued when the car breaks down or something. The electric goes out for a few hours and they're having palpitations. We're talking real, honest-to-goodness firefight. The enemy firing on you, going into really tense situations. You want to have somebody that has a clear mind, don't you? A little crazy, by the way, can go a long way. We're not talking cuckoo. Like, just lights on, nobody's home kind of thing. This is just a really odd thing. It's got a lot of people's eyebrows open right now, just kind of wondering where this is going to go. Dr. Joel Devoskin, he's a clinical psychologist and assistant professor in the University of Arizona's Department of Psychiatry, and he was telling Fox News that he believes lifting the ban, in his opinion, check this out, is a step in the right direction. He says the label of mental illness is meaningless. He said, there are a ton of people who have had a history of something, some kind of emotional trouble, and they are fine. There is no reason in the world they couldn't serve in the military, he added. Stereotypes are pretty evil all the way around because of the stigma of mental illness. we stereotype them. Dvoskin said that some cases mental illness might make